Hello, this is Bill Scheid from the Systems Lab, and in this video we're going to talk about 3 tips for using equity curve crossovers. So first of all, what is an equity curve crossover? An equity curve crossover is essentially a meta-level trading system signal that occurs when the equity curve of a given system crosses a reference line. And that reference line typically is a moving average of the equity curve itself. It doesn't have to be, but most of the time in most applications, the reference line is some type of simple moving average or exponential moving average applied to the equity curve of the system itself. And it's important to distinguish that from applying moving averages to the price of the instrument being traded. So it's not applied to the price of the instrument being traded, it's applied to the equity curve of the system itself. And equity curve crossovers can be used to dynamically turn a system on or off based on the performance of the system itself. And not only can you use an equity curve crossover to turn the system on or off, you can also use it to adjust your position sizing and take larger or smaller positions based on the performance of the system. Equity curve crossovers, I find them to be excellent because they can reduce drawdowns by pausing trading during losing streaks, and so it helps you avoid periods of system underperformance. All systems go in and out of phase of the market and will have periods where they perform better or worse. So this is one way to help reduce trading during the times when a system is out of phase with the market. So let's jump into our 3 tips for using equity curve crossovers. So tip number 1 is to backtest to make sure that equity curve crossovers work with your system. Equity curve crossovers don't work with all systems. Sometimes they don't actually reduce the drawdowns, and sometimes they do reduce the drawdowns, but the reduction in return is too great to make it worthwhile. So to dive into that, a few tips for you on backtesting the idea. What you could do when you first start backtesting is just begin by simply eyeballing an equity curve with a moving average applied. What we're looking at here is in blue, the equity curve of the PRX crypto system trading GBTC, which is a Bitcoin ETF on 3-minute bars. And then the red line is the 20 SMA equity curve. These are backtests that are generated by the PRX crypto strategy on TradingView. To generate the equity curve, I loaded these into TraderView, which is an excellent trading journal that I use. Don't have any commercial relationship with them. I'm just telling you about them because I think they're great. So once you've got this loaded in, you could imagine what it would be like to take the trades above the SMA. So these trades and these trades, but not take the trades below the SMA. So you would avoid this drawdown, you'd avoid this drawdown, you'd avoid this drawdown. So you can start to just get a sense of if it's a good idea. And looking at this particular chart, we see that, yeah, there could be some potential because we would catch these up moves, but we would miss these down moves. Then the next step is to actually dive into the numbers. So again, we're looking at stats for that same system. We've expanded it out, so we're looking at more trades here. So this is a very high performing system. Without the 20 SMA, the system makes 238.9 R. And with it, we see a very small reduction in net R down to 226 when we apply that 20 SMA. However, look at the reduction in the maximum drawdown. The maximum drawdown without the 20 SMA is minus 18.8. With the 20 SMA, it's only minus 8.1, which is really fantastic. And the size of the average drawdown gets cut almost in half from minus 4.5 to minus 2.6. Also, if we look at the number of trades, we drop from about 1,500 trades to about 1,100 trades. And so by dropping those 400 trades, we're going to pay a lot less in commissions. So that's another factor to keep in mind when you're thinking about applying an equity curve crossover. Not only how does it affect your net and your drawdown, but also does it help you reduce commissions. The expectancy for this system also jumps up from 0.16 to 0.20. The SQN happens to stay the same at 3.5. If you're not familiar with SQN, that's a metric that was created by Dr. Van Tharp, and subjectively speaking, 3.5 means that this is an excellent system. So here we have some good numbers that tell us from a back test, yes, applying an equity curve crossover to this particular system is actually a good idea. Now let's jump to tip number 2, which is to apply the equity curve to the raw, unfiltered system results. So this means that you're tracking the cumulative P&L of your system as if you had traded every trade the system came up with no filters at all. And that's important because we want to evaluate the pure system performance so we can determine if the system is in or out of phase with the market. And my personal preference is to not include slippage and commissions when evaluating pure system performance. Slippage and commissions are actually very important for real world results, and I do track those, but I track them separately from when I'm looking at applying an equity curve crossover. So let's go on to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is to choose an update frequency that fits you as a trader. So for example, to look at the chart we were looking at earlier, the blue equity curve is end of day equity. So that means for me trading this system, I only have to update my equity curve and the SMA one time per day, even though I'm trading on 3-minute bars, and I can get a lot of trades in one day. It takes me about 8 minutes to update this chart at the end of every day. So it's really no big deal at all, and it's well worth the reduced drawdown, the enhanced system performance. So you just want to make sure that you pick an update frequency that fits you as a trader. For example, if you, oh, and I see I spelled frequency wrong there. There you go, an update frequency. So you want to make sure that as you are selecting your update frequency, you pick something that works for you. If you have to update it 10 times a day, but you just can't fit that into your schedule, that's not going to be a practical application for you. As Dr. Van Tharp said, we want to trade systems that fit us as a trader if we want to achieve success in the long term. This is Bill Scheid from the Systems Lab. Thank you very much for watching, and happy trading.